And I wanted to just briefly talk about the principle of ahimsa that we spoke about before. Ahimsa being non-violence, but non-violence can kind of has a huge, there's many layers to it. It's not about just not punching someone or not being, outwardly aggressive in terms of shouting really loudly or something like that. Obviously, there's also when passive aggressive, which is a less known, that we tend to passive aggressive seems to be slightly more acceptable, but it can be equally as violent as shouting. Those comments which are like daggers, that are sort of they're sort of a bad way of expressing our anger. So in a way, I suppose ahimsa is a practice about getting in touch with our anger, and so it doesn't have negative expressions, not expressed negatively. But actually the bit that I wanted to briefly touch on today is about how we practice our yoga. So when we're practicing on the mat, how are we addressing our own healing, bringing ourselves back to balance, or are we kind of approaching our mind body in the same way that we do the rest of the time, possibly in a kind of there can be many different ways, but sometimes we can think, I have to be able to do this, everyone else is doing this, I'm going to do this, even though actually it's not good for my knee, or it's not good for my hip, it's not good for my shoulder. It's like, it will be all right, and it'll go away. And that's true, and can be a very healthy way of approaching kind of carry on mentality. It serves many people a lot of the time. But I suppose what I'm wanting us to start to look at is how we can become more aware, so we know when is it a case of actually it's all right and I can just carry on, and when it's a case of no, I'm going to be aware of the fact, let's say for example this knee is uncomfortable, and I'm not just going to sit how I habitually sit. I had a big run yesterday and I've got a sore knee, so I'm going to sit up a little bit higher today. I'm speaking sort of imaginatively. I'm going to sit up a little bit higher so that my groins can relax, and when I bend my knee today, I'm going to just put this belt around it to create a bit of extra space. So that is intelligent practice. It's not being a wimp or being overprotective or self-indulgent. So it's just trying to shake up any tendencies we might have to think that if we do different from everybody else in the class, we're somehow not as good, whereas actually being good at yoga is about awareness, and that's where it connects in with the non-violence. So we are aware of our bodies, we're aware of how we're feeling, and we know how to bring ourselves back to balance. So let's start. So sitting on whatever support you need. So there's this kind of checking in with yourself, with your body, your mind, your heart constantly, to see how am I serving myself, or how am I being a disservice to myself? Because at the end of the day, we need to be a service to ourselves. Especially because sometimes people want to help us, and if we don't know how to help ourselves, we can't ask for help, or we can't accept their help. So let's sit upright and spread the palms. So the main thing is, for example, that none of you are sitting there thinking, oh my God, I hate this bit of the class because my knees ache, my back aches, my hips ache. That should not be happening. That would be himsa, violent. And if you're repeatedly doing it, then we need to address. And that's why every class I'm always trying to give alternatives for poses. But at the end of the day, you're responsible for the choices, the actions that you take. So lift and spread your chest, close your eyes and listen inwards, being present to yourself and body, mind and heart, but remembering these are completely integrated, interrelated. They're not actually separate, but just for convenience we look at the body separately sometimes, the mind separately. But if you have a sunken chest, what's that saying about your mood? So can you lift and elevate your chest? And then what's happening in your forehead and tongue? Is there tension across the brow, tightness in the jaw and the tongue? So that will maybe be indicative of your mental state. So as you relax your tongue, your jaw, broaden your eyebrows, you're helping to steady the fluctuation of thoughts. And let's chant together. Exhale, inhale. Down. Rest your hands and gently open your eyes and raise your head up. And stretch your legs forward. So we're going to start with a few kind of therapeutic approaches. So the first one is what do you do when you've got a headache? Instead of going straight for the ibuprofen, you can come up into your room where you are now and grab your bolster and rest in Aadha Chandrasana. So sit on your feet, knees apart, and rest your head. And there are many ways, but I just want to share a few things with you that, for example, I would do if I had a headache, but if I was a headache and shivery or something, then I would put a jumper on. I'd even put this blanket over my kidneys so that I feel like I'm supported and I've got that sense that I'm hiding from the world. So sit in Virasana, forward bend, extend your arms forward, rest your forehead, relax your fingers. You know, if you're sad and you just kind of need to release some sadness from your chest, you know, feel how these postures kind of interact with the whole of us. So that yoga is something that's actually part of how you manage your life, like how you might have a chamomile tea in the evenings before bed, or you might have lemon water in the morning to sort of detox from your gin and tonic the night before, or that we have ways that we bring ourselves back to balance. So yoga, and especially the asana, is one of our tools, one of the ways to do this. So the arms are hopefully above the bolster, if you can, resting on top of the bolster. The forehead is resting on top of the bolster. And the arms are lengthening, the sides of the body are lengthening forward. Is it a bit strong for your shoulder there, Ros? The bolster, yeah. So that's a good listening to the body. Then can you draw the trapezius to the waist? Can you spread those upper back muscles? Can you rotate the upper arms outwards? So we're not going to stay really long in these poses because I don't think anybody actually does have a headache, and literally you can be in this for 5 minutes, just as long as you feel as you want to, as you feel that you've kind of released whatever it was that you needed to release. And then exhale, inhale and come up. So depending on your energy levels, you might be up for a downward facing dog pose, and we'll do it with the head supported. So turn your bolster lengthways so that your forehead ends up on this end of it. You stretch up in your normal way, rotating the upper arms outwards. Press the legs back, and then the forehead rests to the support. So, Laura, you can maybe, first of all, open out the armpits. So maybe you can do just Gomulkasana sitting up, just to get the breadth across the collarbones. Because I'm wondering whether actually it's to get the breadth across the collarbones that you need first, even behind the back. Yeah, so you can do it above and then change the interlace, but also what I was thinking is behind, because the collarbones need to be broad out to the shoulder points. So when you're in your dog pose, everyone, make sure you're broad across the collarbones so the chest is open. And lift the armpit chest. Isabel, can you move your feet further back and be longer in your dog pose? So we're resting the forehead on the support. Then rotate the upper arms outwards. That's it, Jane, and lift the trapezius muscles up. Then begin to open your armpits in the direction of your legs. So do you want to do dog pose now, Laura? Perhaps have a lift for your wrists if you want to. Roll the front of your mat up. Then a few longer exhalations. Let your body breathe in your dog pose. Feel how your body's waking up, but also breathe into it. And then come down. And then we're going to come to standing forward bend, simply with the feet as wide as the mat and the forehead resting on the seat of a chair. So this is another classic way just to quieten the front brain. Fan the legs, lengthen the waist and rest forward. So make sure that your hips are above your ankles and your body's lengthening forward. So your legs are not leaning towards the chair. The frontal thighs pressing back. Have the arms on top of the chair. Make sure that the toes are in slightly, so the feet are as wide as the mat. Keep those heels to the edge, that's it. And engage the thigh muscles, feel the work in the leg muscles that enables the trunk to release down. Can you lengthen your hips back? Look at those knees, thighs. Can you lift the and thigh muscles up. That's it, Ross. It looked like a firm leg, but I could tell there was a bit more to come. I've got a good view of your leg. It's a whole 2 inches long right at the front of the window. Wait until I see you guys in person. Then your 2-inch leg will be a metre-long leg. Exhale. So exhale for the brain. Make sure there's no strain. If you folded your arms, change the fold of the arms. Keep the thighs back, Lynn, so that the hips are above the ankles. That's it. And then exhale. Firm the legs, bring your hands to the chair, come up and stand. So that would be quite enough sometimes, and then you might just do legs up the wall, and that would be it. That would just be your, I'm going to just sort out my headache, not I'm going to do yoga, it's I'm just going to sort out my headache and bring myself back to balance. So now we're going to move on. This next pose is also really good for headaches, but we're going to kind of move the class on a little bit now. So this is Prasarita Sanasana. Some of you will be able to touch the, most of you will need to have something under your head, like a bolster, or even put foam blocks underneath the bolster, or even a pad. You probably want to stay with the chair, because the blocks won't be high enough. But you'll see how this is also very calming for the head, quieting for the head. But it's a little bit more strenuous than the previous one. So turn your toes in a little bit. Outer edges of the feet cut down. And as you press the outer edges of the feet down, feel how you're able to lift these inner arches up and the inner ankles. Just have a look at your own feet and check that you do have those arches and that lift. Then bring your hands to your hips. And I often then say lift the side chest, but we've missed out a part of the body, which is the pelvis. How is the pelvis being organised? So recently I've been talking about moving the coccyx in. So feel that lift as you, so it's not a tucking of the buttocks under like that. Yeah, it's not, because that makes the lower back drop. But it's not let the buttocks fly up, tail fly up, and then shrink the lower back in the other direction. So we engage the legs and then grip the outer hips, move the middle buttocks forward, and then lift the coccyx. So there's just this little lift. And then with that lift of the coccyx, you can then lift the side trunk, lift the chest, and arch up. So there's this real uplifting feeling that's coming from the lift of the coccyx. So the top of the coccyx or sacrum is going down, but the very bottom of the coccyx is coming back up. So you get this lift of the front pelvic rim, lift of the armpits, feel the abdomen is lifting and spreading, roll the shoulder bones back, move the dorsal spine in, and feel the side chest lifting. And then with your exhalation, keep that length and come forwards to Urdhva Mukha, concave back. Hands are as wide as the shoulders. And then keep that lift on the inner legs, grip of the hips, tailbone in, coccyx in, then extend forwards and down. So if you keep the coccyx in, it does act as a brake. If you're quite flexible, like Mildred and myself and even Isabel in this pose, don't just let the coccyx fly up when you go down. Keep the coccyx into the body as you come forwards and down. So you have to lengthen from somewhere else. which is the back. Rather than dropping the pelvis, keep the tailbone in and extend forwards and down. Then remember how we said elbows in line with the shoulders, like a box shape. Are your legs wide, Pat? Or did you take the legs wide? Are those what wide as we're doing? Yeah. That's it. Then can you fold the arms on top of the chair? Yeah, that's lovely. Elbows in, Ros, hands as wide as the shoulders. And now feel those triceps, the outer upper arms really have to work to bring your elbows in. Go on, bring those elbows in. Come on, that's it. And now lift the shoulder muscles up. That's it, as you keep the elbows in, as you stretch your trunk down. So Jane, your support's too high. You want to be on the crown of the head for this one. And then just breathe here. Feel where your breathing can flow to. Can you feel your breathing in your front and back chest? Are your legs straight? Are you even on both feet? So just have this self-observation. And so this self-observation is a compassionate act. It's a non-violent act. And then exhale, feel your feet in contact with the ground, a firmness, a stability. And then straighten your arms, look forwards. And then inhale to come up. Walk your feet in and step your legs together. So before we come back up to standing, we're going to lie down to do our Supta Padangusthāsanas, 1, 2 and 3. And we're going to work with the loop around the heel like we did recently, where we place the loop around the bottom of the foot, like that. So why we're doing the leg extensions is because I also want you to get a sense that if you've been running, walking, jogging, been on a walking holiday, cycling, these are a great way to relieve stiffness. Yeah, so if your thighs are stiff, your legs are tired, and you've gone away on a walking holiday, all you need to take with you is your strap. And you can do this on the hotel floor or at the campsite. But also, if you're stiff in the hips, you know, this should be part of your daily routine. Or if you've got inflammation in the knees, this should be part of your daily routine to help release the inflammation in the knees and to help get flexibility in the hips and back. So make your loop and then hold the loop. I was holding the tail a moment ago, that was an error. Hold the loop and be in Supta Padangusthāsana 1. So legs are straight, arms are straight. So the arm is holding the strap and the arm is straight. Press the left back of the left arm on the floor. Align your pelvis. Push up into the heel, but feel how that leg connects down into the hip socket. So you can imagine after you've done a long walk how nice it is to get the legs up in the air. Yeah, so the blood can drain, the lymph can drain. Then keep this leg connecting back into the hip. So this is where it becomes healthy for the hips, is the leg bone is coming down into the hip socket. And now we want to keep this as we take the leg to the side. So we mustn't let the leg just drop out to the side. So keep the outer thigh connecting into the hip. Keep the outer ankle gripping in. Keep the outer hip gripping in. As you keep the arm straight and take the leg to the right. So this right outer thigh shouldn't get flabby to the floor. You want to grip the outer thigh up away from the floor as you extend the leg to the side. Keep the left leg pressing down. Raise the leg up again. You do it 4 times on that same side so I can have a quick look at you all. And you know, if you do this regularly, you will see a difference. And for each of us, we've got different little projects. So my project is I'm trying to open the front of my groins. Your project might be to get more flexibility in your hips. Or you may have a project to manage the excruciating pain in a part of your body. So this is where yoga can really help us, and the classes are a way for us to learn how to manage these things. And as we get older, they get more and more, which is fair play because we've had good time with our bodies and we need to take more and more care. So once you've done 4 on that side, come back up to straight. And then come all the way up to straight. Get that leg bone into the hip socket and then swap legs. So what we're doing now is we're learning how to help heal, manage our own bodies so that we can do it now, but also in the future when we may need it even more. So straighten both legs, unless you've got unless you've really got tight hamstrings, then you can have the left leg bent. So straighten up both legs. So try and have the leg in line with the hip socket, Alison. So loosen the belt a bit so that you can have the leg in line with the hip. Now straighten that leg, have a tighter belt loop there, Louise. Isabel, can you hold the loop like a handle rather than hold the tail? That's it. Your hand could be closer. Your loop's quite loose as well. Make the loop tighter. Are you holding the loop there, Felicity? Palm faces you. That's it. Turn the palm. That's it. Now straighten the legs, everyone. And then when you take the leg to the side, it goes to the side in line with the hip. So firm the legs, grip the outer hip in, and then extend the left leg to the left. Make sure that the leg doesn't drop. Keep the leg in line with the hip. Hold the belt with the thumb too, Felicity, so you've got that contact with the belt, so the arm and the leg are working together. Just move slightly from the wall there, Louise, so you can take the leg the same distance as you did the other one. And 4 times in total. So Jane, can you see how much that right thigh is lifting? So you want to keep that down and take the leg to the side. So keep it down as you take the leg to the side. So it doesn't have to go all the way to the floor. Pause at that point where we start to drop. Pause at that crux point and release the right waist down to the floor. Press the right thigh down to the floor. And then once you've done both, bring the leg up and release. And then release, lower the leg down, be in Supta Tadasana, just stretch both legs along the mat. And then roll over to your side to come up. Gomukasana. So this is also given to runners. Can you feel as you stretch up into your dog pose? Laura, make sure you're not hyperextending your elbows. You may want to put a belt around your elbows to stop you from bending the elbows in, because I seem to remember that happens to you quite a bit. So everybody in your dog pose, get the lift in your hips, then look back at your feet and keep the heels quite high up. Get the buoyancy in the lift in the hips But then start to stretch the calf muscles down. But as you take the calf muscles down and start to stretch the heels back and down, see that you're not dropping the inner arches of the feet. So keep the arches lifting, so you're taking the center of the heel back. So that look at your feet and lift the inner arches and the inner heels, inner ankles. So you're not taking the feet down and dropping the inside of the leg and the inside of the foot. And as you stretch the heel back and down, try and get it more and more, feel that lovely release on the calf muscle. Exhale. And then come down. Now, Navasana. So we're now moving to those of you who feel that you could do with some regular work to improve the strength in the abdomen. So Navasana, take your belt, make a loop, hold the loop, and then straighten out the legs. You may not be able to lift the legs up to be straight. If you've got tight hamstrings, you may need to work with the knees bent for a bit. So start with the knees bent, lift your back, lift your chest. And keeping your back lifted, stretch your legs or keep the legs bent. So be careful, don't drop your lower back, keep your lower back lifting. And then from here, bend the legs and then let go of the strap. Now the abdominal part starts to come into play. Keep the legs squeezed together, lift the lower back, lift the chest, squeeze the knees together, keep the feet up by the knees, lift the chest, and then rest the feet down and lean forward slightly. So if that's difficult, which it is for all of us, see if you can bring it into more regular thing that you like. Okay, from now I'm going to do boat pose regular to try and get some more strength. So let's go again. Lift your back, lift your chest. And you know, these things don't take very long. You can just do a couple of preliminary postures and then dog pose and then boat pose. And then let go and keep your back lifted. So see, maybe this is going to help your hip, Isabel, because of the strengthening, the lifting the muscles of the legs. Feel how the muscles of the legs are working. Lift your back, lift your tummy. If you can do it with the legs extended, do it with the legs extended. Lift the back, work the legs, spread the soles of the feet. Keep the jaw relaxed and then release. We'll come back to it in a moment. We're going to go back now to our Supta Padangusthasana 3. So let me show you from here. Maybe we need to have our loop. Let me see. So right leg, up, out, across. And then I catch hold of the ankle with this hand and bring the leg towards me. And then what happens when we bring the shin parallel to the body, across your body towards the opposite shoulder, this thigh starts to lift up. So it's down here, but now look, as I bring it in, look what happens to my leg. So the work is, you've got to reach through that thigh and press the leg down as you engage the lower abdominal band and bring your chest up towards your leg. And then you take your same arm as leg and bring it behind your back into Gomukasana. So you're like that. Okay, you might not do the Gomulkasana, but at least start to get the leg work. Oh, I'm all tied up. Okay, so lie down, have your loop. So you'll feel the abdominal area really gets worked here. Stretch both legs, place the loop around the right foot. The loop is helpful because it's just, and you can just place the loop normal, you don't need to do it in the new way. So straighten the leg, then extend it out to the right, Press the left thigh down, left leg is straight. Extend the right leg out to the right. And then bending the knee, bring the foot across. Catch hold of the back of the ankle with the left hand. Let go of the belt and bring the whole leg towards you. And then stretch the right arm and lift your chest and bring your chest towards the leg. And then bring the right arm to Gomukasana behind you as you lift your chest up towards the shin and look above the shin. Then release the head down and release the leg. Extend the leg up and then lower the leg down, other side. So raise the left leg. Straighten both legs. Exhale out to the side. And then bend the knee, bring it across. Catch hold of the back of the ankle. Bring the shin across the body, bringing the foot towards the opposite shoulder. Lift your chest. Press that right leg down, but lift your chest up so you're starting to look above the shin. Then stretch the left arm behind you, bring the hand to Gomukasana. Lengthen both sides of the body. Lengthen the elbow away from you. Draw the shin towards you. Lift your chest up, Isabel. Lift up. And release. Extend the leg. Repeat other side. So if you're finding it hard to lift the chest, don't do the arm behind the head. Just focus on trying to get the chest lifting a bit. So you're really engaging that lower abdominal area. Bring the shin towards you. Be careful that you're not rounding the shoulders. Keep the chest broad. That's it. Foot more towards you, Jane. Knee further away from you. And release. And the other side. So extend up to number one. So get really familiar with these. Number one is straight up with the belt. Number two is out to the side. Grip the outer hip in. Number three, bring it across the body, bending the knee, foot to the right shoulder. Catch hold of the back of the ankle, so the ankle's in, the outer hip's in. Move the knee away from you and draw the shin towards you and lift the chest, lift your head, hand behind the head, elbow reaching back. Knee towards you, shin towards you, foot towards you. And release. Extend the leg along the mat. And then roll over to your side. And then come into Navasana. So we'll do it once more. So let's try it without the belt this time. So from Dandasana, you lean back, raise the legs, raise the arms. If you're not doing it with the legs straight, you place the hands, bend the knees and raise the arms. Okay, so from Dandasana, sitting straight, lift the side body and then lift your legs and lift your arms. Extend the legs, work the legs if they're straight to make them active. Breathe, feel those abdominal muscles working. Lift yourself, Roz, you're going too low. Keep your body upright, that's it. And then release. And then bend your knees and come up to standing. Okay, so let me just adjust my screen. So we've done this before as well. Let me see how to make it slightly, I think we'll just do it without any equipment. So with our feet hip width apart, just watch a second, let me just work it out. No, let me see. Yeah, so we just come into Utkatasana. Let's do it with the feet together, because it's quite hard when we're coming into Utkatasana with the knees bent. It can be tricky. Well, no, go on, let's keep the feet apart, but you've just got to make sure that when you bend the knees, you've got to keep the knees straight over the toes. Don't let the knees converge. When the legs are together and we do Utkatasana, it's much clearer. So when the feet are apart, just keep the knees straight. Okay, so let's just do Utkatasana with the feet apart to begin with. So inhale, stretch up, feel that length in the abdomen, and then bend the knees. Keep the weight even on the feet, lift the abdomen, keep the lower back long, lift the sides of the navel, lift the sides of the navel, and go down, go down, go down, and then come up, arms down. Can you feel the abdomen is working a little bit? So we're going to do a little sequence where we go Utkatasana, Uttanasana, Utkatasana, standing, Utkatasana, Uttanasana, Utkatasana, standing. So from here, keep the abdominal lift, then you go forwards into the forward bend, and then come back to Utkatasana and stand. So we did this recently going to Halasana, but we just do it to Utkatasana today. So feet parallel, turn your toes in slightly, inhale, Utkatasana. So the knees are bent, body's upright, lift the tail, lift the tail, lift the tail, lift the belly, and then extend forwards into forward bend. Straighten the legs, and then come up to Utkatasana, lift the belly, and come all the way to standing, and arms down. So face sideways so I can see what's happening. Be careful that our Utkatasana doesn't become this. Can you see? My tummy's dropped, my tail's lost. Tail in, abdomen lifting maximum. Abdomen lifting. Okay. Go. Utkatasana. Uttanasana. Utkatasana. Urdhva standing. Lift the chest. Lower the arms. So that's for those of you who find going forward with the feet together really difficult. But otherwise, let's bring the feet together now. We do the same thing. Utkatasana. Lift the abdominals. Tailbone in, tailbone in. Exhale, forwards, Uttanasana. Then bend the knees already to come to Utkatasana. But you've got to reach those arms up and back. Come up and back, up and back. And come up, standing, arms down. Good, so the only thing I'm noticing is there's a slight, your Utkatasanas are starting to look a bit like this. Yeah, but remember Utkatasana is facing upwards. See how I'm facing forward and my chest is up. It's not this shape. You're trying to be as upright as possible. So try to get the distinction between really lifting here and lifting and moving the tailbone into the body, down, up. Okay, and again. Feet together. Inhale, reach up. Tummy up, chest up. Too low, Mildred. Much too low. You're diagonal. Chest up, face up. You're leaning forward like a diving board. Body up, tailbone in. That's it. Then forward, everyone. Much better. Inhale, come up, lift the chest and stand, arms down. And then just recover in Tadasana. So can you feel how that's strong for the abdominals? It's also strong for the heart. It's really working the heart because of the arms being up. So you can also now find rest in your Tadasana. But if you feel like you're lightheaded or anything, then you can sit down and just rest for a moment, and then we'll move on. But can you see that there's the strength that you're building by doing that little sequence? Okay, so let's move on now. We're going to work on stuff which is actually supportive for the heart. So this is actually Trikonasana to Aadha Chandrasana. And we can work with the chair or not. So I'm not going to work with the chair, but some of you who have been finding working with the chair helpful, you can. But what you can experience, hopefully, is as we come into Trikonasana, the shoulder blades are into the body. You've now got space for your heart. And then when you come up into Aadha Chandrasana, again, you've got this space. You've got the space for the abdomen, space across the chest. And if you wanted to make it even more sort of therapeutic, you could have the hand a bit lower, because that's obviously more effort for the heart, because you've got all those limbs to keep pumping the blood up to. So you can do it with the arm by your side. Okay. So coming into Trikonasana to Aadha Chandrasana. Those of you who want to work with the chair, remember the chair goes behind at the back of your mat, like this, and you take the forearm onto the chair. So the chair is useful for hip issues, when the hip struggles to take the weight of the body. Okay, so stand either to the slightly left of your mat or in the center. Be in Tadasana. Squeeze the outer ankles in, outer shins in, lift the frontal thighs, grip the outer hips, long side body. Look straight ahead. So keep that tailbone moving into the body so you get this lift up the front. Feel the shoulder blades moving into your back so your heart is supported from behind. Just check how your breathing is. So just as we stand in Tadasana, your breathing is becoming more steady. So with this steadiness, let's go into Aadha Chandrasana through Trikonasana. So bring your hands into your chest, bend your knees, step or jump your legs wide, stretch your arms. Firm legs, coccyx in, side chest lifting. Left foot in, turn the left foot in, turn the right leg out. Rotate the thigh out. Can you still feel that leg bone is connecting into the hip socket like we did when we were lying down? And extend to the side, Trikonasana. If you need to have the arm by your side to rest, be more restful, you can. Move those shoulder blades in, long side body. Then bend your right knee and make a big leap, reaching the hand to far away from your foot, and raise the leg up. Straighten the arms, straighten the leg. If you're using the chair, place the forearm onto the chair. If some of you need to have bolsters or blocks on the chairs, you can do that. Raise the leg, raise the thigh, raise the chest, lift the top shoulder. Exhale, bend the standing leg and take the foot down. Inhale and come up. And before you turn your feet, just look at where your right foot got to. Can you see how it turns? And then turn your feet forward and step or jump your legs together. So what I mean by that is that when we're in Trikonasana and we've turned the foot to be straight, But then what happens is sometimes when we go into this transition, the foot ends up turning inwards. So you've got to keep the foot where it is and grip the outer ankle and the outer hip in and lift the thigh of the opposite foot. Lift the thigh of the opposite foot. And then when you come down, that foot stays steady. And then you look at it and it should still be in that spot, not have turned forward. Okay, let's do left side. So move your equipment over if you're using any. Stand in Tadasana, find your center. And then bring your hands to your chest, bend your knees, step or jump wide. Firm the legs, coccyx in, lift the side body, right leg in, left leg out. Look at that left foot, check that you've turned it fully parallel to your mat. Grip that outer hip in, that's the one that you're going to be standing on. So grip it into the body, suck the muscles to the bone. And extend to the side, coccyx in, left buttock into the body. Then bend the left knee and take a big reach with that left arm, place the hand on the support and lift the right thigh up. Lift the right thigh, reach the top shoulder up, reach the top hip up and stretch the arm. Exhale and bend your standing leg. Take a long stride, place the foot down. Come up through Trikonasana. Turn to look at your left foot and check that it didn't move. And then turn your toes forward. Well done. And then step or jump your legs together. Back to Tadasana. Okay, grab your chairs now. We're going to Utkatasana. But in a quite a gentle way. We're doing this more as a way of elevating the heart. So yeah, you just need a simple chair, nothing else. And we're going to be right into the chair. Lift the chest. So we're not really doing the camel pose is more of an arch, but we're just doing it in quite a gentle manner. So bring this chair right up into your body. So take the feet through the legs of the chair and bring your shins, press your shins down and move your sacrum forward. So don't let your buttocks lean back to the chair. Bring your buttocks away from the seat of the chair. Can I see that? Hands on the seat, buttocks away from the seat of the chair. Open out the front of the pelvis. Coccyx in, pelvis away from the chair. Then press your hands down and lift your side chest. Coccyx in, side chest up. Roll the shoulder bones back, move the dorsal spine in. And then rest, face forward. Then take your hands further back on the chair. So I'm holding the triangle, but you might find something else. Then press down with the shins, grip the outer ankles in. Now move the buttocks away from the chair and lift the side chest, roll the shoulders back. So you're trying to go up and just work as much the shoulders as you can. Not so much in the middle back, mostly shoulders, little bit dorsal spine. Lower back is really long and feel the shoulder blades supporting the heart. Lengthen the front body and then release. And step forwards and sit on, stand up. So one of the things that I'm just noticing is that if the pelvis is coming down, the abdomen hangs forward and the lower back is short. So bring your fingers to the front of the pelvic rim and lift it up. Lift it up, the front pelvic rim, which is the bones of the front of the pelvis. That's it then, yeah, front of the pelvis. Now feel that place is lifting. That's your waist. Bring your hands to your pelvic bones. So that the ones that stick out at the front, these ones here, not up here, but these ones down here. A bit lower, Isabel. The bones, are that where they are? Okay, cool. Now keep that area lifting, interlace your fingers, spread your palms and stretch up to the ceiling. Lift it up as you stretch the arms up. Keep that lifting and then connect with the coccyx moving in, front pelvis lifting and the sides of your body really long. And bring the arms down, change the interlace. So again, so get that lift as if you're hooking up the front of the pelvis. And stretch up. Feel how the abdomen kind of feels light, doesn't it? It doesn't feel heavy. Your waist is long, your abdomen spreading. And then bring your arms down. So we want to do that in this pose itself. So kneeling now, get that lift. So pelvis forwards. Bring your fingers and hook the front pelvic rim up, hook it up, and then catch the chair. Put your hands on the legs, the bottom legs if you can, and lift up. Lift the front pelvis, lift the side chest, roll the shoulders back. Pelvis away from the chair, pelvis away from the chest. So mostly upper back we're doing today, a very gentle camel pose, not full pose. Bit more, Mildred, in that upper back. Get it to curve back. You're still upright. You're not curving at all. That's it. Use the trapezius to support the neck. Lift your armpit chest there, Lynn. Use the holding of the chair to lift the armpits and roll the shoulders back. And then come to neutral. And then stand up. Move your chair out of the way. We come to cross bolsters. So 2 blocks and a bolster. We're going to do this with bent knees because I want us to focus on the feeling in the chest and the pelvis. So this area has really got to open this way. The arms turn and then the abdomen spreads, side body is long. So I want you to get a feeling for what that is like. Okay, and then you slide backwards to come out. Oh, crikey. So sit to the front of your bolster. Have your blocks in the middle, Miss Felicity. And then curve over. Your shoulders don't need to reach the floor. What I want you to get is a long side body. So don't let your shoulders touch the floor, Lynn, so you're in the center of those blocks. That's it. And now lengthen from your hips to your armpits. Make it really long. So it's the similar sort of shape as our camel pose. Keep the knees bent, everyone, just so we can really focus on buttock flesh long towards the backs of the knees. Frontal pelvic rim towards the chest. Head on the floor. Have you got something wrong, Alison? Do you want to come down and tell me, because you don't want to be doing it with blocks? That's it. Now open up the chest. Support the neck. Don't let the head lift like that. Slide off a bit more. That's it. And walk the feet towards you. Don't go all the way. That's enough. Yeah. Is your neck supported? If you are not neck supported enough, turn your toes in, everyone. Toes in, toes in. Support the legs. Lengthen the sides of the neck so the chin is not just freely lifting up on its own. So slide off a bit more, Isabel. So the sides of the neck are long and the head doesn't just drop back. You've always got to support the neck with the shoulder muscles. It looks a bit strained there, Roz, with the head on the blanket like that. How does it feel for you? Support the neck as well, maybe not just the head. Rather than having the shoulders free, support the shoulders too. Now make the sides of your body really long. From the hips to the armpits. Think of the camel pose. Toes in, everyone. Thighs parallel. Buttock flesh to the backs of the knees. So try to bring the energy that you had in your camel pose to this, so that this posture is helping your understanding of the camel pose, and the actions that you were doing in the camel pose is helping you with this. Soften the throat. Can you feel how the abdomen is spreading? It's not dropping down, is it? Because gravity is on our side in this direction. And now see, can you slide your left leg along the floor and press the thigh down strongly and get that opening in the front of the pelvis. Flex the foot, heel toes away from the floor. And then change legs. Go and press that thigh down, frontal pelvic rim to the face. It's a bit high, isn't it, the bolster for you there, Felicity. Don't worry about straightening the leg, you can keep it bent. And then release. Some of you will be able to extend both legs, otherwise you want to just stay bent legged. So stretch the backs of the legs, turn the toes in, press the thighs firmly down and lengthen open the whole front body. And then bend both knees and slide backwards to come down. Just rest there for a moment with the knees up on the support. And then roll to your side to come up. Sit on your bolster and stretch out your legs. Spread and open up the backs of your knees. Sit up tall. So with a belt, if you're sitting on a bolster with the bolster behind you, it's going to be handy for our twist. So you've got the length of the bolster behind you. Stretch the legs. Lift the side body. Open up the backs of the knees. See that you're on the front of the sitting bones. It's a little bit precarious because it's so narrow. And then we're going to turn to the right. So bring the left hand across, bring the right hand behind, and you can even lift up the bit of that bolster so that you get more leverage to turn. Because if the hand is just resting on the top, you've got nothing to hold on to move. So you reach it to the back of the bolster. Lift the trunk, lift the waist, lift the armpit chest, and turn to the right. Center, other side. Can you feel it's quite a tight, there's a sort of restriction, isn't it? Can you feel how it's sort of restricted twist? It's quite spinal. So kind of hot and maybe a bit of a strain on the heart. Can you feel that sort of tension, that sort of tightness? And come back to the centre. Same thing, but now with the legs wide. Utkatasana. So we're doing exactly the same thing, but we've just changed the leg position. So first of all, sit up tall. Again, this is really helpful for knee and hip issues. It should be, preferably part of your, daily. Just try and get into this position every day. Press the legs down, sit up tall. You might have a carpet in your sitting room. Just get down onto the carpet at least once. Stretch out the legs. Okay, so now we're going to do our twist. So turning to the right. You can actually have the left hand in front if you want. And now sit up tall and turn, holding the back of that bolster. Now, what does this feel like compared to the other twist? As you exhale, can you turn? What does it feel like in the belly? What does it feel like in the heart, in the spine? Just what does it feel like? And centre, compared to the one with the legs together. And sit up tall. Exhale to turn. If you can't really get much turn on the front hand, you can pick up the front of the mat. Especially if your feet are on the mat, you can pick up the front of the mat and pull it. And that will help you to turn. Tailbone in, lift the front pelvic rim, spread the elbows, spread the chest, turn. Hands on the floor in front or holding the front of the mat, turn. And centre. Then just move back so that your feet do land up on the front of the mat, because I think it will give you a better sense of the pose. So my heels are on the mat. So sit in such a way that your feet are on the mat. So you can move your bolster further back. Sit so your feet are on the mat. So you're sitting wide with both feet on the mat. Make sure that's happening. And we're going to hold the front of the mat. So grab hold of the front of the mat, and because your feet are pressing down, there's a little bit of traction. And then swing the right hand behind, pull the mat and turn. So you're pulling the mat, even you can reach the hand a little bit more to the right foot. Pull the mat and turn. Take that left shoulder back. Move the left armpit forward. Take the right shoulder back. Returning to the right. Breathe out. Let the stale air out the mouth. And centre. So now we're turning to the left. So you can catch hold of the front of the mat a little bit more, sort of slightly towards that left foot. So you pull it. But you're pushing the foot down, so there's a bit of traction. And then swing the left arm behind, bend the elbows and lift and turn. Make sure your pelvis is not rolling forwards. And let there be space. And breathe. And turn. Pull the mat from the left to the right. From the left to the right. And centre. Then just sit in Trikonasana. So could you feel that as a twist with the legs wider, this just feels like there's much more space for the organs. It seems much kinder for the organs and for the spine than with the legs together. And then now bring the legs to simple cross. So like that, we want to start to really feel how the postures are different and how it affects us. So let's go to Sarvangasana, Halasana, that's shoulder stand and plow pose, or bridge pose, supported bridge pose. So set yourself up with your 4 foam pads and a chair. We'll work with the chair today for our plow pose. So you place your mat, you fold your blocks, and then you put your chair or your stool an arm's distance from the blocks. So you want to check that the chair is arm's distance. So my chair is a little bit on the close side, okay? So my chair would need to be a little bit, possibly a little bit further. And then from here, you're going to roll your feet onto the chair and get up onto the tops of the shoulders. And then interlace the fingers and adjust your position on the blocks so that you feel that you can lift the neck spine up away from the blocks. Change the interlace, get the arms down, lift the neck spine up away from the blocks. And then bring your hands into your back and then stretch one leg up and lift your back and stretch the other leg up and lift your back. Bridge pose, you'll be working with 4 blocks under the buttocks and the feet to the wall. Remember, the feet are at hip height in bridge pose. So to go into plow pose first. And straighten the legs. Then interlace your fingers and press the arms down and lift the shoulder blades up. Adjust your position on the blocks so you feel that your neck is actually lifting up. So you're adjusting the shoulders. So like Utkatasana, working the shoulders, lengthening the side chest. So the neck vertebra is moving up away from the block. Then change the interlace. Press the arms down and lift the shoulder blades, lift the side body, lift the outer hips. Press the arms down. So we are aiming to get the arms down onto the blocks. And then bring your fingers into your upper back, undoing the interlace, keep the elbows in, and then stretch one leg up and really lift up out of your hips, arching over your hands, and then reach up the other leg. Roll the thighs in, move the inner thighs outwards, spread the backs of the thighs. Relax your throat, tongue, eyes. Keep pressing the upper arms down to keep the shoulder blades moving into your back, side chest lifting. Move the coccyx in, thighs back. Can you feel how this lower abdominal work in this pose too? hand Halasana. Take the feet to the chair. Keep the lift in the body as you take the feet to the chair. Keep the lift in your back. Walk the feet away from you a bit, Ros, so that your hips are not hanging back. That's it. Press the outer hips up away from the waist. Feel your body still long, sides of the body still long. And then keeping your hands on your back, support yourself as you come down. Then slide back until your shoulders and head are on the floor. And those in Setu Bandha as well. Bend your knees and rest your feet to the floor. Lift your hips and move the blocks out and come down. So we come to Viparita Karani now, which is legs up the wall with a bolster under your buttocks and waist. So once you finish the posture you're in, roll to your side, undo your mats, and then place a bolster a small distance from the wall. So you've got the wall, and then you've got your bolster, a little gap about a brick's worth from the wall. And then to go into it, you sit on the front end, and then you bring your buttocks in. And most people bring their shoulders to the middle of the mat, but that's a mistake. You want to bring your shoulders to the edge of the mat. So when you roll up, you're in the centre. And then you can just do a small adjustment. So now the legs are to the ceiling rather than at hip height like they were in our bridge pose. And then spread the arms. So this is a very recuperative, restorative posture. Restful for the heart, helps circulation, good for the immunity, nervous system. So stretch the legs up. So it regulates blood pressure, helps to release stress-related headaches and migraines. It relieves palpitations, breathlessness, asthma, bronchitis and throat ailments. So so this posture relieves heart palpitations. And it also helps to prevent varicose veins because the legs are up. That's good for indigestion. So allow the legs to rest down into the pelvis. Allow the abdomen to spread. So by positioning yourself accurately in the pose, then you're actually enabling the benefits to happen. So by feeling the legs resting down into the hips, letting the abdomen really spread, that's what's going to help to manage indigestion. And then feeling your normal inhalations and exhalations with the breadth of the chest. So keeping those arms wide, armpits open, feeling that space across the collarbones, across the nipple band. Diaphragm is also free and relaxed. Feel how that possibly also helps the heart. Smooth, even inhalations, exhalations. But with all these things, it's for us to experience it, and then we know. So until we actually start to notice and experience it for ourselves, it doesn't mean so much. And then we can actually really trust it once we've experienced it ourselves. So we don't need to take these things as fact. They become fact when we've actually experienced it ourselves. It becomes a fact, it becomes real for us. So let our yoga practice be this kind of awakening to what's real, what's really happening. And let it be compassionate action. So one more minute here. Exhale. As you inhale, feel this glow of inhalation into the breadth of the chest, nourishing. And then we're going to come down. So slide your feet down the wall, slide back till your buttocks are on the floor. And roll to your side. So we're going to go to Shavasana now. If you feel that you need to do a simple forward bend, like a cross leg forward bend or kneeling forward bend, then feel free. Otherwise you can straight away lie down. So as we lie in Shavasana, we feel the effect of what we've done in our practice today. So we've hopefully woken up many, many different parts. There's an aliveness in the legs, the abdomen, the back, the sides of the body, the breadth of the chest, the shoulders and the arms, all the way to the hands. And the neck can relax and the back of the head's resting. The face is quiet. Each part of the body had a role to play in the class. So let every part rest now. So the body helps itself. The legs help the sides of the body to lengthen. The work in the hips affects the abdomen. The hands work in dog pose so the back can lengthen. The hands work so the arms can work so the back can extend in dog pose. So there's this relationship. So let's begin to notice these relationships. So let every part relax. And perhaps one part's relaxing a little bit more easily than another. So let the relaxation of the thighs spread down to the calves and the feet. Or perhaps feel how your out breath is really long and soft. So let your out breath help the part of the body that's finding it hard to relax. Breathe out for that tense part. And bring your awareness back to the surface of your skin. As you inhale, feel your inhalation as if filling you up like a balloon, pressing out against the skin. As your energy, your heat radiates into the room. And then roll to your right side. And come up to sitting. Sit upright. And then there's those days when we wake up and we just sit for 5 minutes like this, feeling the inhalations and the exhalations. So we're creating this posture, Sukhasana or Virasana. Side chest lifted, armpits lifted, face quiet. So the body's alive and alert, and we're just watching the inhalations and the exhalations. So the mind, the body and the breathing are coming together. And fold your palms, bow your head. Rest your hands down, open your eyelids and raise your head up. Namaste, thanks everyone. So have a good week and see you next Tuesday, if not before.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you. Bye.
See you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.